welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast. Thanks for downloading. Time to get on board and let's go diving. Mind those ropes.
Hi, my name's Jo Moseley and I'm an author of 3 books about paddleboarding. I am just reliving my memories with my little book.
Oh, wow.
Which I found. So all my stuff's in storage and I just thought I'll just go and see if I can find it because I knew that I'd kept them, found it, and I was just looking at a dive, 56 meters. Like, why was I that stupid? 1989. I was like, now I'm just like scared if I go to Sainsbury's on my own.
Well, pause that because we'll talk about all that in a minute. Hello and welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast. Welcome back. Thanks for downloading this episode. This is episode 212 and my name is Ian, and with me by the power of Zoom all the way to Pakefield is...
Hello, my name is Gemma. I am the other co-host and welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast.
Right from the top, let me tell you, these episodes are sponsored by the lovely people at Narked 90. They are, Gemma, what are they?
They are beyond technical and they cater for all your diving needs, whether you're a recreational diver, right through to the technical diver, and right down to rebreathers. And they offer servicing and repair options, and they are engineers. So if you've got a problem, talk to them and they might be able to fix it.
Don't call the A-teams. The A-team don't exist anymore.
Call the Narked team.
Call the Narked team. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Let me just tell you right from the start as well. We've done the Narked bit. We want to tell you and share, like everyone else in the diving community, our sympathy goes out to the friends and family. We're all saddened to hear this very sad news of the passing of Michael Monduno. And we dedicate this episode to his memory and spirit. We had a brief meeting with Michael last year, didn't we?
Yeah, early part of last year. Yeah, we just had a catch up about diving community, and what we were both about. And it was nice to have that conversation with him, and obviously memorable.
It was. And if you're wondering who he was the man who is very credited and come up with the term tech diving, and right from the start, which has made it all mainstream for everyone who's been tech diving, come up with a magazine called Aqua Corps, and that ran in the 90s, and has then moved on with founder of GUE, Jared Jablonski, and they now run the In-Depth magazine and been running that for last since about 2010, I believe.
Yeah, and anybody in the diving world, he would be a familiar face out there on social media. Yeah, and it's been incredible seeing the outpouring and sympathy from the diving community as well.
I don't think I've seen so much in previous years of when it's always sad when we lose somebody in the diving world, but it's remarkable the amount of people who shared their photos and memories of when they met him and shared time with him.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will continue for the future because he's a great loss, within the diving community.
Yeah, so there we go. Okay, let's talk about diving. That's what we're here for, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're also back after a little break from releasing episodes regularly, but we've been busy over the summer. We've been out diving around the UK, and our previous 3 episodes you can hear our roving reports about Farnes, Lundy, Swanage and Farnes again.
And before you say it, we know there's wind noise and things like that. That's all part of the fun of getting out there on the North Sea. It's the North Sea, for flip's sake, So there's going to be some wind noise and stuff. So we hope you enjoyed it. It was great diving. It was good fun. We had all the elements from wind, lots of waves, and then on the west coast, it was lovely and sunny and hot, wasn't it? It was lovely.
Yeah, Yeah, certainly. And we've been in different vehicles. We had the pleasure of using a motorhome from Auto Trail. So again, you can listen to our report about that and check out our social media as well.
Yeah. And I'm no longer a caravaner. I'm more of a motorhome fan now.
And there is a difference between a motorhome and a camper van, but
There is, yeah. Remember what the difference is?
a motorhome is one of those box things on a trailer, and a camper van is a van.
Yeah.
A ready-made van that's kind of either converted or purpose-built.
Yeah. So lots out there, but the one from Auto Trail was lovely. It's XL 620G, massive garage had a huge garage in the back, and we just filled it with all our kit and everything.
Perfect diving vehicle or paddleboarding vehicle. Yeah, you've got plenty of gear and space to put everything in the back.
Gear in the rear, as they say.
Pardon?
It's off a film.
Gear in the rear.
Riding with the gear in the rear.
Okay.
It's off Platoon, I believe. Might be wrong.
Okay.
I'm sure somebody will let us know. I'm sure it's on if you're riding with the gear in the rear. Could be Apocalypse Now. I'm not sure. Could be as well, but I think it's Platoon. I'm sure you've watched both, haven't you?
Yeah, probably. I had this conversation with my brother last night.
I know.
Gave up.
Anyway, we need to say well done as well. Actually, before we say well done, I do also want to thank you to everyone over the course of these last trips over the summer holidays, including my last visit to Stony, who kindly left their names, give them a shout out, and they got a free Narked at 90 free gift. So I'll say thank you to them. All those shout outs have all been done, so they're done. But I want to say a big well done as well to somebody who's been putting a lot of time and effort in over the weekends and in the week as well, to Mr. Matt River, who, Gemma, is now a PSAI.
Open water instructor, which means he can do side mount, nitrox, deep, dry suit, and twin set tuition.
How cool is that?
Yeah, we've known Matt for years and years, and he's also been a guest on the podcast, and it's been really good to see his scuba journey progress from side mount. He's now using a rebreather. He's recently changed to a different rebreather. So yeah, well done, Matt.
He's been on a journey. That man has been on a journey.
Yeah, and he's a regular at Stony Cove, and we've often seen him, dived with him, so it's good.
Yeah,
really
well done, Matt.
Yeah,
awesome. That's good. Little round of applause for him.
Yeah.
Also, I'd seen on the news some big news from Deep. I don't know if you saw. So Deep, who we've been to see a couple of times now, and they got the should we say that? Because a lot of people are going, when's Indeck opening?
Well, that's where Deep is now.
Yeah, everyone's moved on from that, apart from half the dive community. But Deep expanding its US operations with $100 million investment.
Yeah,
that's massive.
Pretty incredible. But then in the whole scale of things, that's probably not a huge amount of money when you consider what their plans are within Deep and the engineering and innovation that's going on.
Yeah, so they're going to open another site where the Vanguard's going to be built in Florida. The Vanguard being that like living quarters that they're going to have.
Yeah, the habitat.
Massive. Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
So that's Deep. What else do we need to? Fourth Element.
Yes.
If you've been looking on our social media, have a look. If you need some thermals for this coming winter's on the way.
Yeah, they do an Arctic thermal, which is quite a thick undergarment. So they do tops, onesies, leggings,
onesies.
So they do their Arctic range, but if you buy a top and bottom piece, so twin set kind of thing, you'll get a free pair of Arctic socks, which
That's
are worth
pretty good, isn't it?
About £40-50. So yeah, good because you do need the socks. If you're going to invest in the top and the bottoms. So yeah, do check out Fourth Element's offer at the moment. The links are in the show notes, and just have a look at their range. They've got a great waterproof coat. So even if you know, you've got a partner that's not a diver, but they like walking the dog. This waterproof coat is made from recycled material, and it looks really good, doesn't
I've
it?
ordered one. It's called the Petrols.
Yeah.
And that's when I was, because I work outside and I need a good coat. And I was looking at the waterproofing on it, and that's the top.
Yeah, the
So
rating
it's
is
the
very
best
good.
you can, but 20,000 millimeters or something, whatever it is. And for the rating, which is the best you can get. And yeah, brilliant. So I've ordered one. So there'll be another unboxing video going out.
Yeah, and you've ordered a couple of t-shirts, gloves. What else do you order?
Yeah, I've done a recent video. So
Yeah.
recent videos of late. So we've got the podcast. They all go out onto YouTube. Another way you can listen to us rabbiting on. I've done an unboxing of my stuff I bought from Fourth Element recently. T-shirts, some gloves, set of base layers, stuff. All that stuff I can
A
use for work
mask
as
you
well.
got.
A new Segan black mask. Yeah, I've been looking forward to it. So I had one on test, really liked it. And I shown Scuba Honey the other day, and she really loved all the detail as well. So I went for the clarity, so it gives you nice, good, clear vision.
Yeah.
Um,
You're going to use
uh,
that at the weekend?
I need to just make sure I've got a fitment for a snorkel, because I've got to have a snorkel on being in the water,
Dive master duty.
because you need a snorkel at Stony.
You always need a snorkel.
Anyway, let's not get into politics.
Let's talk about Fourth Element. Let's finish that off.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've got an unboxing video that's out. The podcasts are all on there. Also at the weekend, we released the interview that we did on site with Scoobs from Diverstime.
Spring Lake.
Spring Lakes.
Yeah, they're just near Nottingham. It's called Long Eaton. So they've got a dive lake called West Lake, and definitely worth a look. Great facilities, easy entry into
Instructors, if you're listening, right? If you want a really good place where to take your students, right? Where it's really easy access, it's reasonably quiet. There's toilets, there's really nice caf. Airfills, like what, 3 to 5 meters away from the waterside.
Yeah.
There's a place where you can sit, there's cover. What more do you want?
Yeah, lovely visibility.
Yeah, really good viz. And the depth wise is about 6 meters, and they're going to be looking into that into the future. But what a great place that you can take, and it's literally just up the road from Stony, or if you come from the north, it's just before Stony.
Yeah, so do look it up. Again, we'll put the link to their dive centre in the show notes, and they're really, really friendly people, very welcoming, and yeah, definitely worth just even one dive. Just go visit them, say hi, and give it a go.
Yeah, and not taking anything away from Stony. We love Stony, really good team, look after you, everything, and you know what you're getting at Stony, and that's really great. But when you get in the diving community, which is quite difficult diving industry to be in and to get a business off the ground, we've got to support them and shout out about them, because it's not easy. If you're looking for somewhere a bit different, or get away from the crowds, or just fancy a different place to go visit and try, look up Spring Lakes and Diverstime.
Yeah, and if you've got people, family, friends that like doing all the water activities on top of the water, they do paddleboarding. They've got a water park, aqua park, where you can jump on inflatables as well. So
you can camp there,
and they've got a great campsite. We've used it. Great facilities, very quiet, nice site.
Secure site as well, because they got security on overnight as well.
It is. Yeah, so 24/7 security as well. So
you ain't got to worry about people messing about late at night, keeping the kids awake and things like that. So you can literally camp the night before and go dive the next day. What more do you want?
Yeah, showers on site. So yeah, brilliant. So
yeah, So look them up. And today is the anniversary. So we're recording this on the 6th of October. Today's the anniversary of the bombing and the sinking of SS Thistlecombe, one of the world's top dive sites.
In
Today.
1941.
1941, yeah. So we did a little video of our dive there, and that's out on YouTube and our social media as well. So
Yeah,
have a look at that.
good. Just need to give a shout out to Gemma Bengi from Lindy Diving, just to say well done on her relay attempt to swim the channel. They did amazingly well, just reached almost 4 miles offshore before the dive boat aborted, just due to tides and conditions. Yeah, it's such a shame, but they raised I think £5,000+. So they did amazingly well for the charity that her dad supported. So yeah, just really well done to Gemma and her team.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, brilliant effort.
The weekend's coming. I am going to be at Stony again this weekend with Crystal Seas Scuba. Don't know where we'll park. We'll try and get the flag up anyway. And the free gifts and the board will be out. So once again, if you see the flag and you're at Stony Cove, this weather's going to be good. I've looked at the forecast. It's going to be good. So a good time getting in the water. The water's still nice and warm, and it's clear. We've had a message that the water is much clearer now, so that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you see the van, you see the signs, see the flag, come get a free Narked at 90 gift, and leave your name. We'll give you a shout out, as many people have done before.
Yeah, the flag will be flying, and you'll be on your dive master duty. So.
Yeah. So do come say hello. I don't have much time to chat over the weekend. It's a busy weekend, but do come say hello.
Yeah. Great. So I think that's all our shout outs done. And we are back in full swing with, talking to guests. And
yeah, we've got people lined up, haven't we?
We have, yeah. And this episode, we are talking to Jo Moseley, who is renowned for stand-up paddleboarding, but she is also a diver in a previous life. And we met her back last year at the NEC Camping and Caravan Show.
Yeah.
So it just shows diving is, it crosses all kinds of boundaries. And we catch up with all these people. So yeah, Jo has brought out 3 books so far about stand-up paddleboarding, but it is more about her connection to the watery world and what it brings to her, and how she can communicate that to other people through her books.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
let's should we get her on?
Yes, yeah. So this is our conversation with Jo Moseley.
Hi, my name's Jo Moseley, and I'm an author of 3 books about paddleboarding.
Yeah, and welcome to the BiG Scuba Podcast.
It's welcome
for you to join us.
Thank you so much. It's very exciting to be here. Very honoured. I've never been on a scuba podcast before.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's brilliant. I'm glad that we are your first.
Absolutely.
So first questions first then. What does being on the water or under the water mean to you?
Such a good question. I think it's just a place where I feel both calm and excited, really respectful, and I just feel like my favorite self, whether I'm in, on, around water. It's just always been a place that I have loved from a child, really.
Yeah. So you're known for paddleboarding, but you have actually scuba dived in your past.
Yeah, I have. So that was it was such an honor when you asked me, because I thought, wow. I mean, we didn't have podcast. I dived in the 80s, late 80s. We didn't even know what podcasts were then. So to actually be able to talk about it is literally the first time ever. Nobody's ever asked me about my diving. So yeah, for a very short period, I was a diver. When I was at university, I was BSAC. I went, so I was talking to my dad about this, and we were trying to remember, what qualifications I got. And he was like, I think you were almost an advanced diver, but then something happened. And I think basically I'd done the practical and the theory for advanced diver, but then I left university, and then I just didn't have that university structure. So I didn't get the book stamped. But yeah, so I was, a dive leader. I dived in Scotland a lot. We traveled a little bit. We went to Gozo one holiday. That's
Wow.
where I did the blue, whatever it's called, the blue hole, blue lagoon, or whatever. Did a little bit of diving in Menorca on holiday with my dad. So my dad was a diver.
Oh,
And
cool.
in Hawaii, like once. So yeah, I loved it at uni, and then life kind of got in the way, really. But yeah, it was just an absolute passion. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we see that you've dug out your logbooks?
Yeah. So a lot of I moved to live with my dad in February this year, and so my kind of life is in storage now, in a storage unit. And I happened to be at the storage unit today, and I thought I'd just see, because like at home with my dad, he's got all his logbooks. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
And I just kind of looked last night just in case I put mine with his, but that they and his are like this thick.
Wow.
And then I just went to this box today in the storage unit, and I found like all my logbooks.
Wow. You've got
And
loads there.
yeah, it's just I think 4 or 5, and then my qualification record, a little paper clip which is very, very rusted. So yeah, I've just been having a little read through today, which is gorgeous. Sort of like we used to go to we did St Abbs, and I learned to dive in St Andrews on the east coast of Scotland. But we used to go to the west coast, and I used to love going on the wrecks. And I was thinking, oh, what are the names of them? So there was the Breeder and the Ronda and Hispania. So it's just amazing. It's like going back in time and having.
Isn't that the beautiful thing about having a logbook?
Yeah,
rather than the
exactly.
app?
100%. Like that was 1989. I can't even imagine how many years ago that was. But to be able to go back and read, how exciting it was and what I did, and yeah, and some of it I absolutely would not do today, like the one I was just telling you about, would never go to 56 meters. Do not know why.
Does it say why you went down 56 meters?
So let me just have a look. I think it's this place. It says as your window. So I think it's this special place in Gozo that you go to go deep. And I'd always thought that we went to 49 for some reason. I think that's probably what I told my dad. Oh, we only went to 49, Dad.
This episode is brought to you by Narked at 90, the cutting-edge pioneers in the world of diving equipment. Meet the founders, John Routley and Brent Hudson, who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives over the past 3 decades. About 20 years ago, these experienced technical divers combined their passion for diving and engineering skills to create Narked at 90. Whether you're new to diving and ready to take it up a notch, have a fair amount of experience, or are considering a transition into technical diving, we highly recommend Narked at 90. They're ready to advise on the best equipment and setup for your personal and commercial needs. Narked at 90 also has extensive hands-on experience with shearwater and ratio dive computers, being the longest-serving UK service centre for these brands. They're ready to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades for all shearwater and ratio computers past and present. In addition to shearwater and ratio, Narked at 90 stocks and supports many other brands such as DiveSoft, JJCCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss rebreathers. The diving community is always enthusiastic about Narked at 90, and it's easy to see why. Here are just a few reasons. Full head servicing for rebreathers from various manufacturers, bespoke cable assemblies, advice on specific fitting requirements, suggestions and guidance for home builds, computer laser cutting and engraving, CNC milling and turning, pressure testing to simulate 400-metre dives. We're thrilled to partner with Narked at 90, a company that has ignited so much passion for diving and has been incredibly supportive and innovative in producing and selling dive equipment. Visit narkedat90.com to see why they're a renowned name in diving. Stay updated on their insights and offers by following them on social media. Just search for Narked at 90 on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram and hit that follow button.
We could see the bottom. We saw lots of fish. I don't really know. I think it was just the experience of it, and we were in our 20s and people thought it would be a really good idea to do it. We did a cave, and I'm really scared of Cathedral Cave, which, if I remember rightly, you kind of go in and have you been?
Abs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you go in and then you kind of come up again, and I'm really scared of like enclosed spaces.
Yeah.
But somehow I did it. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah.
We
I
went
did that quite early on in my diving, and yeah, I remember actually seeing it's just an arch, but then you go through and it's not an actual
And that
cave
was where we met Chris Wake coming the opposite,
with all these
direction
lights.
with these massive, great big, big camera setup that he's got with great big lights, and then him gesturing us in this really strange manner, and we're like, "What's he trying to tell us?"
And it was to come through so he could take pictures of
Yeah, we
Oh,
were in the way,
okay,
basically.
okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna just spend some time reading it. There's some various funny pictures of a fish, somebody being eaten by a shark, or but I don't think it was. I think I do remember I saw a tuna or some kind of fish, and I just panicked that it was a shark. I do remember that. So but yeah, so it's just absolutely wonderful to find them again, and just to
Yeah,
go back to
Yeah.
myself in my 20s. So
yeah.
yeah, it was my first love. My dad was a diver, and he stopped. He'd had cancer 3 times, and the consultant just said, "Look, I just don't think it's probably good in your 80s to continue diving. It's probably not good for your heart." Um, he'd had a lot of chemotherapy, so but yeah, he used to love diving,
It's
loved
good
it.
that he was diving into his 80s.
I think it was just before his 80s.
Wow.
I think he stopped sailing in his 80s, but I think it was probably before his 80s that the consultant just said, "I just don't think it's good for your heart." So, and his dive buddy had died a few years before, and he just knew that he trusted Uncle Roy, and he didn't really, well, he didn't really know anybody else that would
Yeah.
dive, and I was having children and all
So
that.
we don't have to you don't have to think too much about who you took after then.
Yeah, yeah. My mum would swim in a swimming pool, and she would stand in the water on a sunny beach, but she would never like do anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, we grew up watching Jacques Cousteau, and and they were on the telly, and he was on the telly. So yeah, all down to my dad really, and
Oh,
and
fabulous.
we had some great dives together, really great dives.
Oh, that's really good. And then back, so you did all the diving and that connection to the watery world. And then did you obviously have a break? You got married, children, and
Yeah.
then paddleboarding
Yeah,
started.
yeah. So diving, and I had a year studying in America, and I was kayaking. We went kayaking in Alaska and did all these great things. And then I went uh, to Africa and did some stuff, and the Philippines and did some stuff. And then, oh yeah, the Philippines, I forgot I dived in the Philippines, went
Wow.
diving in the Philippines. And then, yeah, marriage and children and work, and then divorce and children, you know, and lost a huge amount of confidence just through life, really. And
Mm.
then took up paddleboarding in 2016. I'd injured my knee earlier in the year, so September the 24th, 2016, and just felt like that same sense of just, I always say, like a warrior, not a worrier, because I am a worrier, and I'd started just worrying about everything in life. And yeah, I just loved it. And it seemed a bit more accessible than diving at the time, just a board and a paddle and your buoyancy aid. And then, yeah, I just went from there. And then 9 years later, my third book comes out. So
Which
um,
we will get to
yeah,
some
yeah.
later on.
So yeah, but in both instances, it's just always being around water. My son
Mm.
said to me recently, "So, have you settled in living with grandpa and da da da?" And I'm like, "Yeah, and I do this, and I swim, and I sauna, and I row, and I paddleboard." And he said, "Mum, do you do anything that doesn't involve water?" And I'm like, "No, actually, I don't." So
Yeah. Did you grow up on the coast? Is that how you
no,
connected?
grew up in the middle of, grew up in Harrogate, so right in the middle of the country. But my parents did have a little cottage on the coast that my dad lives in now. So we would spend all our holidays in the sea. And I remember It's been around 1976, 77 when it was, so I'd have been 12, 13. We used to sort of jump in the waves, and we gave different types of waves names. And so, yeah, always loved it. Very much what I guess you'd call a tomboy, just always being outside, always being in the water. Just felt very, very confident there.
Yeah, I think it is that connection. You just feel comfortable when you're by the water. And I
Yeah.
think, I live right on the beach, and Ian only lives a few miles away, and we both say that, yeah, we feel uncomfortable when we're,
Yeah, I
in the
couldn't live
middle of the
further inland.
country, or,
Yeah.
that far away from the water.
Yeah, yeah, it's just very soothing. And so my dad moved to the coast to live permanently about 8 or 9 years ago. So in his early 80s after my mum died. And I genuinely think it's kept him alive. So he's just gone 92, just turned 92. And he says he doesn't know that he could ever live not by the sea again. And yeah, I think there's just something about it that has kept him well, and is just, well, the research shows, doesn't it? It's really good for us. So yeah, I definitely think it's what's kept him alive this long. So
Yeah. I think it's the energy that you get from seeing the ever-changing. Every
yeah.
time you look at the sea or go to the beach here, it always looks different.
Yeah, yeah, and he sits there with his binoculars, and he used to volunteer at the RNLI, not in the crew, but at the shop, and be part of that team there. And so, yeah, sits with his binoculars. He's got his VHF radio, and he's got an app so we can see which boats are coming past. So, and as I said, he was a sailor, so yeah, it's very much part of who we are, really.
Yeah, yeah. So you can see why stand-up paddleboarding, captured you.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So have you got an inflatable board, or is that a
Yeah,
solid?
yes, I've got a red Paddleco, a red equipment inflatable. So I just don't have the space for anything else. And I never really have, and it just works well for me to do that. So yeah, that's just what I've always paddled on. And I know lots of people have different boards for different things, but I like things to be quite simple. Like one board that I really like, and then I just feel really comfortable on. So yeah, very, very lucky that Red have kind of lent me one for my books and things. So
That's good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
have you still got your dive kit?
No, when mum died, dad moved out of the family home, and I did when I was, so all of that went because of, I remember there's lots of regulators and bottle tanks and everything, but all of that went. But I do remember, and it is somewhere in storage. So my weight belt was pink. I was very much because everybody was like, my wetsuit. No, I think I had a semi-dry. Like dry suits were just coming in, but I then, didn't go on to a dry suit. I had a semi-dry, and that was sort of black and pink and everything. And I did have the belt just as a little reminder. I think I even had pink weights. It was a little bit over the top now. My knife had pink, it was just like a bit, oh. Anyway, there you go.
There's quite a few divers like pink dive kit.
Yeah.
All my stuff's black.
Yeah.
I don't advertise that much when I'm underwater.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing about dive equipment. You just want it to be, unique to you and identify it, and it gives you an identity underwater as well.
Yeah, stealth.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess and you rely on it. I mean, I know you rely on a paddleboard, but you really rely on it, don't you? You really rely on really knowing your kit and knowing just, how it would feel in your mouth, literally everything about it. So it became very, very precious. But then, my dad had to give it all away. So.
But then kit is really important for, whether you're a kayaker or paddleboarder as well, because that's half the time that's where people get into trouble by going out unprepared. Without wrong kit, no means of communication, not checking the weather, currents and things like that.
Exactly. I mean, I think, when I was doing my BSAC, we spent the whole winter in the swimming pool. You know, we knew exactly, you know, every Monday night we were in the swimming pool, just learning stuff. And when we went out for our first week away so that we could, you know, get the open water experience, you know, we were really grilled and made sure, you know, everything is sort of here and in my little blue book and everything's signed off. And that's, you know, I suppose I came at paddleboarding with the same kind of attitude that you've
Yeah.
just got to be safe and you've got to learn. And paddleboarding is great because it is accessible. But one of the challenges with that is that people just don't always understand the impact of cold water or wind or currents or tides or river flow. And I do feel sometimes like I'm a bit of a broken record on safety, but I think that's coming from a background of diving and sailing with I'm not a sailor, but being with my dad and, you know, him being very up on safety. So, yeah.
Well, there's no compulsory training for paddleboarding or kayaking or anything, is there?
No.
Unless you do the YHA course, or you go to, like in our area in Norfolk, you can go and get a course on at Whitlingham at Norwich, like Gem and I did.
Yeah.
And that was a really good course, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah, and that was for paddleboarding, and it's like sailing as well. You know, there's all the courses that you can do for sailing as well that teach you safety and how to get out of trouble.
Yeah. I mean, there are, you know, Paddle UK have some great courses, Be Super, ISA, ASI, they all have great courses, but there's nothing compulsory. It's a bit like you said I was listening to one of your podcasts today about like power boats. There's nothing compulsory,
No.
you know, and I guess paddleboarding in the same way. So my top tip is always have a lesson, have a course of lessons, because it will save you time, money, investment. Your safety will be so much better. But yeah, unfortunately, people can just go out, buy a paddleboard and go off and just not understand the consequences. So I'm always talking about that, because if you're safe, you know, it's like a tidy ship is a safe ship, you know, it's the same with paddleboard. Just make sure you have all your kit and an understanding of the conditions that you're going out in.
Yeah, and I think through like COVID and the lockdowns, we saw so much like a surge of paddleboarding taking place because that was an accessible thing you could do, and it was UK based as well. But yeah, it's definitely, you see saving lives at sea and all this everything on TV about how people do get into trouble, and safety is
Yeah, and the weather was so good, wasn't it? In that first part of COVID, it was just bizarrely good. So, you want the sport to grow. You want people to get involved. You just want it to be done safely.
Yeah, and the other thing, it's accessible to everybody. You know, even diving, not necessarily, you know, if you've got a health condition, you are excluded a little bit from diving if it's, you know, not considered safe. But paddleboarding is much more an accessible sport for, all abilities, really.
Yeah, 100%. And one of my friends, Will Behaner, who's in the book, you know, he's created a seat. He uses a wheelchair. He's created a seat, so it's adaptive paddleboarding. I've got another lady in the book who had a stroke, so it is really accessible. And obviously with diving, we had to, you know, even in our 20s, I'm sure we had to have a medical or something, you know. So yeah, it is, and you would take, you know, people will take a dog or a child out on a paddleboard, but you're not going to take a child down, you know, when, you know, they might snorkel, but you're not going to take them diving at 6 years old.
No.
Oh, so from your paddleboard, do you do any snorkeling or swimming?
Yeah, I do. I used to love snorkeling. And again, it's just one of those things I think, oh God, I used to really love that. And one of the trips I did for my first book, when I went down to Oxwich Bay, I was with a woman who is a really accomplished paddleboarder, but she's also a marine scientist. I should probably say she's a marine scientist and a paddleboarder. And so we went, and we were looking for a wreck actually, but the visibility wasn't very good that day. So we were lying on our boards with our snorkels, and then we did a bit of a beach clean under the water. So yeah, I used to love snorkeling. I find it really kind of calming and meditative. But then I used to love that about diving, just, that kind of slight noise that you hear. I mean, I don't know if I guess you still hear it. I guess that the regulators still are the same. You just kind of hear that noise and it just calms you. And I used to be quite a popular diver because I very rarely I didn't use much air at all. So a lot of people would be like, "Oh right, we'll use Jo as as our backup," and we'll come up and they'll be like, "You've used nothing." I don't know if I've got a very slow metabolism or what. And then the people are like, "Oh, you're our backup. We'll just, use you in case anything goes wrong." So I was actually genuinely quite a popular paddleboarder to go with, because I was just their sort of support system, really. But yeah, but I just love that calmness of it and snorkeling. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So starting paddleboarding, a bit later in life,
Yeah.
and you suddenly, got this kind of energy and appetite for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was 51. Um, I was a single mum and just, life was busy, busy, busy. Mum had died. Dad was going through another problem with his heart. Um, and I injured my knee in the January of that year. And then in the September, as it sort of started to heal, I set myself this little challenge to spend 30 minutes outdoors every day, which I call rain or shine 30. So whatever the weather. And the 24th of September was this paddleboarding lesson. I went up to Derwent Water with a friend and just absolutely fell in love. I was nervous because it just felt like I had lost a lot of confidence over the years, marriage, children, miscarriages, divorce, everything had gone wrong that so many of us go through. And I had lost a lot of confidence, but I just felt super calm and confident on the board. And I thought, wow, this is great. It's out on the water. I tried surfing, but I'm just an appalling surfer. And every time I went surfing, I injured myself. And like my finger isn't straight anymore. Literally, I just would come back really injured. And so for me, it was like, wow, this is quite accessible. I just need a board. I could do it. I was living in the middle of the country. I could do it on the canals, the Lake District, could do it at sea with where my dad lived. So it just felt like something I could do for myself. A bit like diving, but without, all the extra kit, really.
Yeah, and it's also something you can do on your own, isn't it? Whereas you don't need a dive buddy as well. So
yeah, I mean, we always recommend going with somebody for safety, but you can do it on your own. And at that time, I just didn't know anybody that paddleboarded. So if I'd waited, I just still would, it would have taken me years. But yeah, with diving, obviously, always dive with somebody. Whereas paddleboarding, my dad used to just literally sit there with his binoculars and look out at sea and
Really?
watch me. So there's certain areas of the bay that he can't see from where he sits. So I would never go sort of around the corner or whatever. I just needed always to be in his view, as I built up my confidence. So yeah, I just loved it. And just within a couple of months decided I was going to do this big paddleboard trip from Liverpool to Leeds. And I had had one lesson. It was mad that I was setting myself up to this challenge to paddleboard 128 miles. So yeah, I just fell in love.
So is that
How long
something
did that
like
take?
So well, what happened was that was so my first lesson was September 24th, and in about Christmas time I said to people, I'm going to do this big paddleboarding lesson. I'm going to challenge. I'm going to paddleboard from Liverpool to Leeds, which is 128 miles and 91 locks. And the response I got when I told people at Christmas parties, which was just such a bad idea, was that sounds logistically quite complex along the Leeds Liverpool Canal. It sounds quite boring and it sounds too difficult for a woman of your age. And I was only 51. So instead of doing what I should have done, which was like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to do it anyway, I put the dream away, and it was another 3 years before I built up my confidence to do it. And then at that point, I said, right, I'm going to do it. And this time I'm going to add on 34 miles from Leeds to Goole, and I'm going to go essentially coast to coast. So 162 miles, and about 101 locks, and lots and lots of swing bridges. So yeah, it took me 3 years to build the confidence, which is why when I kind of read these, just briefly looking at my logbooks now and the things that I did and the confidence I had and how I just lost all that self-belief. And paddleboarding has kind of given me it back. So I'm very, very lucky.
Well,
Yeah.
162 miles, that's a long way. That's from here, that's like us driving from here to Gosport, Portsmouth, that sort of
Yeah.
way. That's it's a fair distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You don't have a paddleboard.
logistically, did that take a long time to plan, like for staying? Because obviously you have to stay
So
in.
yeah, so I kind of committed in my head to the idea at the end of January. And then I sort of shared it in the March, and then I procrastinated, and then I just said, right, you have to make a decision and start booking a little bit of accommodation.
Yeah.
So I did that and booked some pubs along the canal, and then the canal goes through Skipton where I was living. So at that point, a friend's daughter would collect me from the canal, take me home. I'd sleep in my own bed. She'd take me back to the canal the next day. So in the end, I probably only needed to find accommodation for about 4 places. I did procrastinate because I thought, right, once you start booking it, this is real. And then when I did, so I think I slightly overthought it. But the great thing about a canal is that it's very well documented. So you know the distance between swing bridges, you know the distance between locks, you know the acts, it's so well documented that actually once you get into it, you can, get your
And
spreadsheet.
are they all clear? Imagine some of these canals have sort of fallen into repair.
The Leeds Liverpool Canal was in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
The year before there'd been a drought, so boats, paddleboards and canoes and kayaks can always, the depth of water we don't need is that much. But some of the narrow boats the year before hadn't been able to move. And one of the problems when the narrow boats can't move is they don't churn up some of the weed. So it just gets, if they're not moving, their propeller isn't churning up the weeds, so it just covers it and it makes it really difficult to paddle. And there were areas like that. But in general, the Leeds Liverpool Canal, it's just a very well used canal. There's a lot of, and particularly now, a lot of recreational paddleboarding, kayaking, canoeing, but also recreational boats and narrow boats and people who live on it permanently. So, and then the bit from Leeds to Goole is the air and colder navigation, which is like a river that's kind of been tamed slightly, and that was beautiful. And that's slightly different, but a lot bigger.
Yeah. Did you know Norfolk has got a canal?
I think I'd heard that, but I've only ever paddled once in Norfolk, in Wells next to the sea, or Wells on the sea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the North Walsham and Dilham Canal, and
Wow.
we've paddleboarded it a couple of times, haven't we?
Wow. And how long is it?
It's about a mile.
Oh,
The
right.
open section now is about a mile because volunteers have been cleaning it out, and it weeds over all the time. So there's volunteers, bless them, who keep it clear. There's a mile section, but originally it was nearly 6 miles long.
Yeah.
And it connected up to, was that Wells?
Yeah, one of the ports. And you can see the old gates at the end of it where you kind of can't get any further. And it is just incredible. And you think,
loads of wildlife, great for wildlife.
Yeah. So, and that's a great thing. You can, with paddleboarding, you can do it inland, which, I mean, I know you can go to, I've never been to Stony Cove, but my dad has, but, and I know there's reservoirs and quarries that you can paddle inland. And obviously people paddle, not paddle, sorry if I get paddling and diving muddled up. I know that you can dive in Stony Cove and quarries. And when I was researching my second book, I was in Westwater and there were some divers there.
Yeah.
And I write about like this, like a gnome at a certain depth. People put these gnomes, and then I think the police took them out, and then people put them back in.
Yeah, all these underwater attractions.
Yeah, exactly. And I was paddling along, and this guy came to the surface, and I could see that he was looking. I said, "Can I help you?" He said, "I can't find my spare tanks," and I was like, "Oh, I think I just saw them down there," you know. So, but it was interesting because there was a group of them having they must have been doing some qualification, or maybe they weren't, I don't know. But I watched the brief, and it was a good 15, 20 minutes, you know, and then at the same time I was like, oh my gosh, you know, most people's paddleboarding brief, well, they don't even have one, you know. So really, particularly on a place like Westwater, you have to be super careful about the wind. Obviously I brief myself and go through all the different scenarios, and you know, at what point will I stop if it gets too windy. But yeah, it was fun watching them, and being able to, because my dad had dived Westwater, so I said to him, I'm going there to research for my book. He said, oh, it's a really funny kind of feel about the place. So it was just really nice that I could talk about it, a place that he had been, but I was on the top of the water and he was underneath it.
Yeah, because that's quite a deep body of water, isn't it?
Yeah, 79 meters. Yeah, deepest lake in England. So, and it's really beautiful. It took me a while to love Westwater, but when I did, I really loved it. But after the dive, I went down to the YHA youth hostel where I was staying. And the water is just so clear. It was so beautiful, just gorgeous for just, you know, snorkeling along, and lovely, lovely.
Yeah. So from paddleboarding and your adventures on the water, you got inspired to write a book and then 3 books.
Yes, yes. So after I paddleboarded coast to coast in 2019, we made a film about that called Brave Enough, A Journey Home to Joy, and that came out in lockdown. So we had all these amazing like film nights on Zoom that people came to. And then, you know, I had a little bit more time. I was working, but had a little bit more time in lockdown. My son was home, and I said, you know, somebody is going to write a book about paddleboarding. And he was like, great. And I said, and I wanted to be me, because I wanted to talk about litter. When I'd done the coast to coast, I picked up litter, and I'd fundraised for a mental health charity, the Wave Project, and which is all about surf therapy, and they now use paddleboarding as well. And I kept saying, somebody's going to write it, and I want it to be me. And after a while, it's like, Mum, just pitch the book, because I'm getting really bored of this. Which I did, and that was my first book. Came out, stand-up paddleboarding in Great Britain, and I went around the country, so England, Scotland, and Wales in 2020, 2021. So my publisher's Vertebrate Publishing, they'd never done anything about paddleboarding before. And they said, oh, could you do kayaking and canoeing? And I was like, oh, I'm not really, you know, it's a long time since I've kayaked. You know, paddleboarding is quite unique. And then they sort of said, okay, yeah, just do paddleboarding. So I was like, phew. You know, kayaking and canoeing are great. There's just, at the time, I just really wanted to be about paddleboarding, because as you say, it was just growing, and I just wanted to really show the beauty of it. So yeah, that book came out in 2022, and I'd been to 30 different places around the country and paddleboarded with lots of amazing people. And really bizarrely, when I was looking at my logbook, it said something about Carrera Sound. And I was like, I went to Carrera Sound for my paddleboarding book. And I think there can only be one Carrera Sound near Oban. And I remember when I was on my paddleboard thinking, I recognize this place, but I have no reason to recognize it. And it obviously right in the back. So I'm going to just research it again and check if I had dived previously, where I then went back for the paddleboarding, because that is, like, you know, quite an amazing coincidence.
Yeah.
If it is the same Carrera Sound. So that book came out in 2022 and did super well, because I tell everybody, you know, where to launch, where to get out, the safety, you know, where to have a snack, a cup of tea, lots of history around the place. But I also usually paddle with somebody, so I understand why they love a place. You know, like, I guess if you talked about your favorite dive location, you know, you could just wax lyrical about it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do that. And so I think it's more than just a guidebook. It's a lot of storytelling. And people sort of say it feels like I'm on the water with them, which is lovely.
Mm.
And lots of kind of conservation points and things. And then I wrote the second book, which is just based on paddleboarding in the Lake District. So the 10 lakes that we can paddleboard on. And then that went really well. And then this new book, Adventures on the Water, just came out, which is stories. So having done the how and the why of paddleboarding, because there's loads of safety in my books. This is a collection of 25 personal essays from really inspiring paddleboarders, where they talk about how it's benefited their physical, emotional, mental, and social well-being. So I've gone from the why, the where and the how to the who and the why. So
yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? And yeah, just to show you the journey, if your younger self as a diver could see yourself now.
I know, it's amazing. Or even if just myself in my late 40s could see myself now, you know, that was, you know, I was literally the woman that you would see crying in the supermarket, completely overwhelmed. And I always used to joke. I do remember joking with people and saying, you know, in my 20s, I went night diving in the Philippines and we were looking for hammerhead sharks and I was so brave. And now I feel nervous sort of going out at night to Sainsbury's. And I would joke about it, but actually deep within, I really was just nervous of life and just felt completely overwhelmed and juggling, looking after mum and dad and the boys. And so yeah, paddleboarding has kind of given me back myself. And completely coincidentally, I was at Alpkit. They're an outdoor brand, Alpkit's Big Shakeout Festival, where I was giving a talk last week, and one of the other women was giving a talk about how she went free diving. And I was like, I have always wanted to go free diving. Like, oh my God, I've always wanted to. So I was listening to Georgina Miller this morning.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, that
And
sounds
again, that's
amazing.
it. That it's like paddleboarding, because that is an accessible sport. You
Yeah,
don't need all the dive kit, and
no,
you know, you can just do it as long as obviously it's safe. And
yeah,
so yeah, so that
yeah.
might be the next adventure then.
Well, it was really interesting because, you know, she obviously gave where she works in Cornwall on the Lizard Peninsula. And I was like, that's very pretty. I've been there once. So then I Googled, I was like, diving for 60-year-old women, is it safe? Free diving. And actually, apparently, somebody was likening, there's this growing group of men and women in their 60s and 70s who are learning to free dive because they call it like Tai Chi underwater. And I was like,
Oh
oh,
really?
this is amazing. You
Yeah.
know, really meditative and really calming.
And again, it's really good for your well-being and your health. We've spoken to quite a few free divers, and yeah, for the benefits you get in terms of the breathing and your control of breathing as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe. So you said on that podcast that you were going to go. Did you go this summer?
We haven't made it yet.
Ah,
We want to, and it's because it's so far to
yeah.
go.
From East Anglia.
And
Yes.
yeah,
Everywhere's far from East Anglia.
it is.
It
It's
is.
literally opposite ends, isn't it?
Yeah.
And but it's taken that time out of work as well to do that, and
Yeah.
with family as well.
Yeah.
So my children are now at an age where I probably can do it
Yeah.
now, and especially now my daughter now dives.
Is that scuba honey then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So now she now dives. It's something that we could get her to come along as well. So
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure she would love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember because Georgina was talking about the wildlife and really getting close to it. And I remember doing some drift dives in Scotland through the kelp, and oh, it's like flying. You know, you just didn't, you were weightless. It was just I think that's one of the joys I found of diving, is just that weightless, you literally are flying. And for me, that is just so beautiful. And when I went to the Philippines and I dived on, what were then, I can't imagine what they're like now, really pristine coral reefs, and seeing, basically finding Nemo fish, And I remember so I was in my late 20s thinking, I have to remember this. I have to, because I didn't have an underwater camera or anything like that. And I was like, I have to just take a photograph in my mind, because this is unbelievably beautiful. I'm not going to see I didn't know they were called Finding Nemo then, but you know what I mean? I'm not going to see these fish like this again. Scotland is absolutely gorgeous to dive
It's lovely
in.
up there, isn't it?
It's different colors, isn't it?
Yeah. I never understand it, that people don't like diving in the UK, and because and so many non-divers have this, and somebody said something to me a few weeks ago in my co-op. They saw I had my hoodie on, and they started quizzing me about diving. They're like, "Oh, isn't it always really dark down there and murky?" I was like, "No, it's fabulous," and one of the dives I always love is a rock dive, where you can drop down the side of a wall and look at all the fish and life on the rock face. And just this time at the Farns, I've been going to the Farns for about 10 years. This year I saw the first shrimp. And I was watching these shrimps. I saw one, and I saw all these others. And thanks to Kat, who was on the boat as well, who pointed out how to see it. And I was like, "Oh my God, there's all these shrimps. These are amazing."
Yeah, it's so beautiful in Scotland. We used to do a lot of wreck diving, and I remember when I went to Mull for the first book, and the weather was just not appropriate for paddleboarding, but I sort of sourced different places and wrote about them and said, look, if you go, please let me know. And everybody who has gone said I chose some good places. But I met this couple, so I was driving along and I saw this couple with 2 paddleboards on their roof. So I pulled over and I said, did you have a lovely paddle? And they were like, honestly, it just, the color, they said it was just dizzying what they could see from their paddleboard down. They said it was just it was just wonderful. And the day, it was a few days previously, the weather had been kind, and they just had the most amazing visibility, literally standing on their paddleboards. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, what would it be like with a snorkel or with all your dive kit? But yeah, I think I've only dived really on the west coast of Scotland and then St. Abbs in this country, but I've for me, you couldn't really get any better. I've never been to Stony Cove. I've never dived anywhere in the south or anything.
I'd love to do St. Abbs again, actually, because you got the wolffish up there, don't you? People see the wolffish quite a lot up there.
I don't think I did. I think, well, I don't know. I might have done it.
I certainly do.
It might be in that dive log.
Yeah, exactly. It's just amazing. It was so detailed.
I had a dodgy haircut when I went to St. Abbs, as Gemma often reminds me. I had a lockdown haircut.
Kind of slipped.
I tried doing it myself. That went a bit horribly wrong.
Yeah, but I think we were really lucky because we dived at St. Abbs. That was 2020, wasn't it? I think 2020. And then immediately, as we left Scotland, it all locked down again. So
And they got that great calf where they do the what's the name of that stuff? Cullen skink.
Cullen skink. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I don't think we found that.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so good memories, from Scotland. And again, UK diving, UK paddleboarding, you can't, explain how amazing it is and how diverse this country is, underwater and above the water.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say something to you then. So do you dive in dry suits now then?
Dry suits in the
Depends.
winter and semi-dries, yeah, we have got. And yeah, we've been in our semi-dries we went to Lundy
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
back at the end of August, and
Yeah.
we're semi-dries.
I'm
But
at Stony this weekend. I might depend on the weather. If the weather's, it's not so much the water temperature. The water temperature's fine. Because the water temperature, I think, at Stony is still probably about 14, 15 degrees.
Oh, wow, quite warm.
And it doesn't really cool down much till after Christmas, when it really drops down. It might be a little bit lower than that now. But the semi-dry is fine. But when you're in it all day, if it's bleak and because there's no cover at Stone, if it's chucking it down or blowing a gale, that can you can soon get a bit cold really all day.
Yeah.
So I'll depend. I'll see. I'll take both, I think, this weekend and then see what's what.
Yeah, I think they were just there was a chap who used to come. I don't know if the company's still around, called Northern Diver, and he would come and he
they're around.
All right.
Great, good company.
Yeah, and he would come. He must have been at our university and come back or something and had gone to work for them. But he was just bringing, and a few people started having dry suits, but I was all semi-dry. And yeah, it looked interesting. So I imagine now, because I was sort of listening and looking at all the different podcasts you have, and I think, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Like rebreathing, I have no idea what they're talking about. We were just we were still, when I was learning, still on the chart, the tables and
and dive computers you wouldn't have had.
I had a Sunto. I just did, and I just was reading it because it said something like Sammy wouldn't be happy, and I was thinking, who the heck is Sammy?
Who's Sammy?
But Sammy, I think it was Sammy the Sunto.
Sammy the Sunto, I like that.
I was like, who's Sammy? Which is probably, I think that was it when we did that thing in Gozo, was like it just wouldn't have been happy any deeper. So I did have a dive computer, but I think I was one of the few that did, and I think I only had it because my dad was a diver and said you should have one. I think if he hadn't been, I probably wouldn't have got one. But yeah, I just remember all those tables.
56 meters is a long way down.
Yeah.
And for your dad as well, to see the advancement in diving from his days, seeing you dive, and where we are today. It's just,
I know. Because when he used to dive, I remember he had a wetsuit that had toweling inside it, and but one time one of his party, his dinner party stories is that what's the phrase? You say you got narked or you were narked or whatever. Yeah. So I experienced narcosis, and we were in Menorca, and I was diving with him, and he said he just looked round and I was just going off, like literally, and I don't remember anything.
Sounds like my daughter.
Yeah, like literally, he said he just saw me going completely off into the distance, hadn't a clue what was going on. And he sort of had to, get me and shake. And I have no recollection of it at all. So he's always talking about how he had to save me.
Sometimes I want to put a line around my daughter's fin just so we can keep pulling her back.
She's so inquisitive about looking at things, and 1 minute she's there, 1 minute she's over there, and it's just like but then that's the enthusiasm that you can see that's captured her with diving, and it's so amazing to see, and seeing seals and jellyfish, and
she loves the critters.
And all the crabs and the lobsters. So
it's so amazing. And I think the more that you understand it, the more hopefully people will look after it, and the younger generations will see what we need to do. Because
absolutely,
we were just so lucky in Scotland, and as I said, in the Philippines. The most boring dive was probably in Hawaii, because I saw nothing. Like it was just, wherever they took me was not interesting. But the Philippines was just, it was like the colors. All I can just remember was the colors. And I'm not sure there was any safety backup anywhere. If
Sounds
anything
about
had
right.
gone wrong, I don't think there was any chambers or anything. But then I was in my 20s. I didn't think anything would go wrong. So
No, and it's technology, isn't it? It's advanced over the years, and and there's much more to happen in the future. We talk to the likes of the people at Deep, and they're making humans aquatic, and the future with submersibles and living underwater is just amazing.
And there's people like the Reef World Foundation and Green World who work, especially out in the Philippines and around that area, and other parts of the world now. To be fair, to work with all these dive centres to make sure, one, they're being sustainable, two, they're being safe, and also that they've got sort of work cards and job cards to kind of work to. So there's a certain standards are being brought up. So these are more so diving is more safer out there, especially for tourists.
Yeah.
And we look after our environment as well, and we go to places
100%.
that
Yeah.
we maintain and keep as pristine as possible.
One of the organizations, you'll know them, called Ghost Fishing.
Mm.
I love following them, and I mentioned them in definitely the third book. Yeah, definitely the third book, maybe not the first two. It's just incredible what they do, and you go and see the little videos, and they, pulling up all this discarded fishing net. I think it's just amazing. Love watching what they do.
And then you've got people like Waterhaul that use all that
Yes.
fishing gear and make, products that we can use, sunglasses, litter picking equipment.
Yeah, I've got my box in my bag, and I love Waterhaul. I think that in my bag, I love Waterhaul. I think they're an amazing company.
And there's other organisations who we spoke to, like Fathoms Free, and also David
Kennard. Neptune's Army of Rubbish Cleaners. He's based out in southern Wales or Anglesey, and they're a bit like Ghost Fishing, and collect discarded fishing gear. But there are all these little people around the country, that look after around the world, that look after their own back garden, so to speak. And that's where it all starts.
Oh, I looked them up. That's amazing.
They've been going a while. Look them up. How do you get around the countryside? Have you got like I can imagine you've got like a transporter or something like that.
So I've got a Vauxhall Vivaro van. So when I researched my first two books, I had a Skoda Fabia. So I'd have two boards in it and all my stuff, and it was just jam-packed. And it was, the car that had taken me through all my divorce and kind of looking after the boys. And it just literally, I loved it, but I'd had it for, I think we worked out 12 years, and it was just dying. So then I got a Vauxhall Vivaro van with a little bed and a little kitchen. And,
oh, wow.
So so I love it. And my dad loves going out for the day in it because it's so high you can see all across the over the hedges.
Brilliant.
So it's it's my little home on wheels. So I love it, really love it.
It's good having something like that.
Sorry?
I say it's good having something like that.
Yeah, the fuel consumption I have to be much more careful with. My Skoda, I could fill it up and it would still be running 3 weeks later. But so I have to be a bit more careful, which is good. But I do really love it. I've got a little table so I can write. The first two books literally traveled the country with my Skoda Fabia, which did me very proud. But if they could make a Skoda Fabia van, I would be, not a Skoda Fabia, a Skoda van. I'd be very happy with that. But I love my Vauxhall.
Yeah. So what's the future holding for you? Have you got any next book or
promoting this book? Promoting all of them, but mainly sharing the stories in this book. So I've got some events coming up to do that, and more paddleboarding, looking after my dad, and maybe free diving. You've got me so interested. It just feels like, going to Alpkit, listening about free diving, you inviting me on the podcast, me listening to George, literally it's just the one. I was just looking and thinking, oh, that's the one. And So yeah, maybe free. And then when I Googled it this evening and it said it's really good for older people, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
pointing towards freediving.
and you can do that from your paddleboard.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, how cool would that be?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, really, it just sounds really, yeah, really, really great. So, yeah, very exciting.
yeah, yeah. And
Excellent.
I think it's really good because it just shows how accessible the water is under it, on it. You know,
Yeah, yeah, I know that you love it because you've got a McConks, haven't you?
yes,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah, so one of the ladies in my book, Caroline Dawson, Kaz Dawson, she's a massive fan of McConks. She paddleboarded down the Amazon on one of their boards.
Oh,
So
wow.
great.
yeah, yeah. So we've got sup yoga, we've got, looking for glimmers, we've got real chilled stuff, and then we've got someone like Kaz who literally is the first woman to paddleboard the Amazon on her.
Wow.
We'll have to look
So yeah,
her
we've
up.
got the
Yeah.
whole gamut of like, you know, big, small, chilled, every kind of paddleboarding experience you can have.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's incredible, incredible.
Yeah. Well, we'll put the links to your books in the show notes so people
That
can
is
click
very
on
Yeah.
those. And yeah, so they sound super
kind.
interesting.
We better do these questions.
Yeah,
Yes. Right. So our first question, what gets you out of your comfort zone?
heights. I'm
Woo!
really scared of
Good.
heights. That is so, I'm not so worried about going deep, but I'm worried about on land going high. That is really out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Like terrifyingly. I did part of the Via Ferrata in the Lake District,
Wow.
and I have never sworn so much and then apologized immediately afterwards. And I was absolutely terrified. And so yeah, really learning to overcome my fear of heights is a big deal for me.
Yeah. Do you ever think about being like on the surface on your paddleboard, but kind of what's beneath you? Like,
No, I never do.
uh,
I never do because a friend of mine, she's a swimmer and she doesn't like her legs dangling even in a lake. She's a really experienced cold water swimmer. And she's like, oh my God, I just don't like my legs dangling. And I'm like, what's the problem? I never worry about what's underneath. And
mm,
so on Water, some people I was really scared the first time I did Water, and people were going, oh, is it because it's so deep? And I was like, no, I have no worries about depth. It's the height of the screes coming down. And
yeah.
so, yeah, height is my worry, but I never worry about what's underneath me. Maybe
Mm.
I should. Do you ever worry what's underneath you?
No,
No, not on a paddleboard. No,
No,
no.
no,
Not so I've ever have. Not if I've been in the water. No, not
no.
really.
no, no.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, but if you've done the Via Ferrata, that's a good way to like challenge your
Part
comfort
of it.
zone.
I've done a
Yeah.
part of it. I'm going to go back quietly and just kind of keep going along and getting to the next, because at one point they can just say, right, you need to go home now, or you can go back to base now because you're slowing us down. So next time I'll maybe go to the next bit where there's an exit point. And one day I will do the whole of it. But yeah, just was
Yeah.
frightened. Yeah, not
I'm
good,
gonna
not good height.
look that up because I don't necessarily like heights, but yeah, that's a good, at least you kind of are secured to something, I suppose.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you are. You are.
I
Yeah.
don't mind heights as long as whatever I'm on is secure. I've
Yeah.
had a few near misses with trees in the past, but yeah, generally speaking, I'm all right. Right, next question. So, if you could take three people, we usually say diving, but you can say diving or on your paddleboard with you and take them paddleboarding. What three people would you take with you?
This is a very easy one. So I have done one dive with both my sons in Menorca. They both had done, I don't know if it was PADI or BSAC. I guess it would have been a PADI course in Menorca years ago. And I did one dive with them, one dive with both of them, and one dive with my eldest son, because my youngest one, it was like you say, a wall dive, and there's lots of barracuda, and he wasn't really up for that. So my three people would be, somehow we make my dad like 30 years younger, my dad and my two sons. I think that would be my absolute dream dive. Just the four of us to have experienced that. Like
Yeah.
when we came off the boat, my dad was there and he was like, what was it like? And, but to have the four of us would be amazing. And then I guess another time would be someone like Sylvia Earle, just to, because
Yeah.
she's an amazing diver and is
Yeah.
diving into her, I don't know how old she is now, 80, 90. So
I
yeah.
think she is, yeah. I think that was her birthday just a couple of weeks ago.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Nice one. Yeah, I like that.
And then through your journey on the water, is there any kind of nugget that you kind of hold on to, sort of lesson of life?
I would just say be brave enough to suck at something new, like at every age, just be brave enough to say, this is new. I'm going to learn everything I can. Like with paddleboarding, I'm going to take lessons. With diving, I'm going to take with free diving, I'm going to take lessons. Just be brave enough to do that, because if you're brave enough to do that, it opens just doors,
Mhm.
It opens doors, doesn't it? It opens possibilities. You open up a
Yeah.
whole new world, whether you're walking on water on a paddleboard, if you're diving, what I don't know what it's going to feel like to free dive, but if I can get through the fact that I don't know and learn, it could just open up a whole new, and I've always been fascinated by those Japanese women, who free dive. So it's just like all these little things which you've had sort of in your brain, and then they all come together at once. And you go, oh yeah, I've always been fascinated by that, but never ever imagined I could do it. So
Yeah. And then making it real and actually
yeah, and then making it real and
Mm.
knowing that, it's not too late to make it real. So yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Good,
Yeah.
good. And final question from us, set questions, is that we're going to give you a billboard, or you could even use your paddleboard to advertise. And you can put anything you like on there. That can be a video, it can be a statement, it can be an image, but you're going to have this space that the whole world can see. What are you going to put on it and why?
I think it would be something that I realized. So when I had that goal in 2016 and everybody said you can't do it, da 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 da. And then in 2019, two things happened. One, I realized that my son would be going off to uni, so I'd be like a single mum, empty nester. But the second thing was that I had been to the funerals of a number of girlfriends, and only one of them had reached 50. So it was like 5 or 6
Wow.
in the space of 6 months. And they were all really interesting, positive, uplifting, creative women that if you met them in the street, you'd be like, oh, I'm really glad I bumped into her today. And some I'd known since I was in my teens, and some were like schoolgate mums. And I guess, and I say it a lot, is that I just realized that life is really short and really precious. And if you
Yeah.
have the spark of a dream, then you owe it to yourself to try and make that dream come true. So it might be that, it 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 was almost like, well, I mean, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'm not strong enough to paddleboard across the country, but if I can just get myself to the start line, just to see, it's almost like that is the hardest bit, just getting to that start and then see how it goes. That I think so. My billboard would say, life is really short and really precious, and if you have the spark of a dream, you owe it to yourself to try and make it come true.
Yeah, just to try.
Just to try and see what happens. And if you find out it didn't, or you can't, or something happens, at least you tried. You just don't want to go back and look back and say, oh, I should have tried. Yes, when you said what else am I going to do, I forgot to say. So I've set a goal with some friends to row to Denmark from Whitby in
Wow.
2027.
Wow.
And the interesting thing is, I mean, we're at the very early stages, but the interesting thing is that we did it via a kind of miscommunication on WhatsApp, which sounds very odd, but we did. And I got into my van and I said to, and I'd been doing shopping for my dad. I got his lemon buns and his roast chicken and everything. And I got into the van and I said, Dad, I think my friends that I row with, we're going to row somewhere really a long way. And I think it could be from Whitby to Denmark. And I just thought, right, I'll just see his reaction, because obviously, you know, he's 92, who knows how long he has. And he said to me, he said, if you want to do it, you must do it, because you always regret the things that you don't try, not the things that you do try. He said, if you want to do it, the boys are old enough, like they're 28, 25 now, they're old enough, they can do their own thing, and you have my blessing. And I just thought that was amazing, you know, and he's, that message is, you know, if you want to do it, and he didn't say it sounds mad, he just said, if you want to do it, then you should do it, and you have my blessing. So yeah, I think that
How would you do it?
hard. Sorry?
How would you do it?
So we will just raise money to get an ocean rowing boat, like
Okay.
ones that they go on the Atlantic and the Pacific.
Right.
So it's a lot smaller than that, and literally train. We've been rowing in sort of old gig rowing boats and also coastal rowing boats, and we'll do this, and it's 350 nautical miles, and we'll be raising money for the RNLI. For the surf therapy charity, the Wave Project, and then a charity called Wet Wheels that you might have heard of. And they take people who are maybe wheelchair users out so that they can have experience of the water.
Oh, wow.
They can, you know, like children can have like pirate ships, and older people and see dolphins and things. So yeah. So sometimes I don't share that that's what we're going to do, because it seems so huge, but I think I need to keep sharing it.
Well, you said it now.
And how long are you planning on that taking?
We think about 11 days. So it's a lot shorter than the Atlantic, but as you know, the North Sea is fairly gnarly. Very busy shipping channel and things. So yeah, we've got a lot to learn. We've got all our, you know, RYA stuff to do.
That's what I meant earlier.
You know, but the woman that we're going to do it with is an ocean. So she does all the RYA courses for ocean rowers. She's an amazing woman, actually. I'll give you, you know, she's got an amazing water story. I'll put you in touch. So yeah, we've got a lot to do, a lot to train for, but yeah, that's the goal.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And the great thing is you're keeping active, and you're out there.
So I want to just get stronger at 60 rather than kind of decline at 60. So.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah. And have you got any advice for people thinking about getting out on the water, if it's on a paddleboard or?
Again, I think just, you know, take a lesson, because take a lesson, get some instruction, and the people that you take lessons with, they might have a club that you can join. They might have like a social group, but they will definitely help you get the right boards. They will help you get the right kit. I mean, you know, Facebook forums and things can be great, but, you know, sometimes it is a bit like some of the advice is a little bit, you know, dicey, and you can't go wrong getting a you know, advice from a fully qualified instructor. So
yeah, good advice. Yeah, and if people want to follow you and find you, are you on social media platforms?
Yeah, so mainly on Instagram. So just Jo Moseley, JOMOSELEY, and also I have a podcast. So my podcast isn't active, but it's still there. The Joy of Sup podcast _, and then Facebook a little bit. I get a bit confused by Facebook. And then my website is jomoseley.com.
Yeah.
So and the Salty Sea Sisters Whitby is our Instagram, but you'll find that it's all in my bio.
Salty Sea Sisters.
So yeah, for somebody that used to be teased that she had a lisp when she was younger, Salty Sea Sisters Whitby is not a great name. But we met at an a lino cutting art shop workshop, and the lady, her shop is called Salty Sea Prints. And we didn't want to be called Salty Sea Princesses. We wanted to be called Salty Sea Sisters. And then we added the Whitby on, because I think leaving Whitby, you know, Whitby's very much part of the adventure, you know, being a coastal town. And Emily comes from Whitby, and we all live nearby. And so, yeah.
That's great.
That's not far from where we were not that long ago, wasn't it?
Whitby.
Yeah.
Where were you?
Or am I not as well? I might get caught out about my geography.
Farne Islands, it's down.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I say.
So we could stop off there, yeah, on the way.
We were at Grimsby not that long ago, and
All
then we're at the
right, so we're
Farms a
up
bit
from
later.
Grimsby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of meet Farne Islands and Grimsby. You'll meet somewhere around with it.
Yeah, well, it's another place to, stop off on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's been so interesting, and
Thank
hopefully,
you.
your stories inspire people to, see where even diving, paddleboarding, just that connection to the water, and hopefully, they might pick up your books and be
you.
inspired by the stories.
Especially
And
with Christmas, time to get some books.
Oh yeah, really. Particularly the third book is going to be great for Christmas gifts.
yeah,
Really, really good. So whether people are into paddleboarding or not, I think it will just inspire them to be around water. There's, research about blue therapy and blue mind and why
Mm.
just being near water is good for us. So,
Yeah.
and that's, rowing, diving, paddleboarding, snorkeling, whatever, freediving, it's all the same.
It is, yeah.
So all our listeners, whether they're divers or non-divers, there's something there for everybody, which
Yeah.
is yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you for being on the BiG Scuba podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for
So
coming on.
much. It's been an absolute joy. I've never spoken to anybody about my diving, so this has just been an amazing experience, and I hope I haven't bored people.
No,
Not
that's
at all.
awesome.
But I'm going to go and read all those logbooks and see what adventures I got up to in my 20s.
Happy memories.
Yeah, really, really happy memories. Keep hold of your logbooks. You never know.
That's right.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you.
And a lot of divers do paddleboard, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wild swimming as well. It's,
Yeah.
the kind of lockdown has pushed all this out there, and
Yeah.
it's made it so
Yeah.
much more accessible for people to.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. So
That's all right. That's been good.
But we wish you a lovely evening, and
Thank you.
just really enjoyed it. It's been great.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.
See you
Thanks, Jo. Okay.
Cheers, Joe.
Bye.
Well, what say thanks to Joe for coming on and joining us. First recording since our little mini break over the summer holidays, and we hope you enjoyed that bit. We covered, I think, all the water sports there, didn't we? From diving to paddleboarding, kayaking,
Snorkeling and freediving.
Snorkeling, freediving, swimming.
Rowing. Yeah.
Bit there for everybody.
Yeah. So, and again, it's just shows how accessible getting on the water, under the water, by the water is, and how beneficial it is as well.
What is it with that, really? I know, because it's like it's an intangible, tangible thing, isn't it? It's an intangible feeling you have about something that's tangible, being close to the water.
Yeah, and I think there are probably other people that have the same connection to the mountains and the hills and the countryside.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
But I think everything is kind of transferable.
I feel the same thing in Bungay, the mountains. Love the mountains around Bungay.
All that, sort of climbing everything up those steep slopes. If you're not from the UK, East Anglia is renowned for being flat. I think our high.
Bungay's got some hills. You've been up some of them.
Hills. Yeah, we have. We
really high.
Walked up them.
Carved into the stone by the Waveney over all the thousands of years.
Yeah, but I think our highest peak in Norfolk or Suffolk is probably what?
About 100 metres. Well, Thorpe Abbots is 100 metres.
Beast and Dump is the highest bit in Norfolk, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm I'm about 5 meters above sea level here.
Yeah,
3 to 5.
But there you go. Wherever you are in the world and you're listening, we hope that you've got some connection to water.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think we've discovered that water is really important to us, and also one of the most expensive commodities. What is that in the world? What do you reckon that is?
Water?
No. Even more than water. Even more than gold and diamonds and platinum.
No, what?
Time.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah. Very true. And Jo's a great one for putting that out there, isn't it? It is hard to fit all this, what you want to do, but if you've got the spark, you've got to try it, do it, and see. But the main thing is trying.
What's age? Age is just a number. And as Brian Blessed once said, it's not how old you are, it's how you are old. And why, when you get to the, in life, why do you, so some people say age stops you, but why should it? You should carry on.
No,
Fitness is the key.
keeping,
Keeping mobility.
mobility, active, fit. Like Jo said, she set herself a challenge of being outside for 30 minutes.
Getting stronger.
It's only 30 minutes. And, that is just sitting down having a coffee. Well, get outside and, have a quick walk.
Yeah.
I think it is state of mind as well. And, age is a number, but it's how you feel and how you commit to that future that you've got ahead of you.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
So that was really good. So don't forget to look up her books. She's got 3, and the new one is out as well.
Yeah, it sounds like make a great Christmas present. And
Paddleboarding and Adventures, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. And if thinking about getting out and trying paddleboarding, well, look up McConks. We mentioned them. We're linked to them. They make great paddleboards. They're a UK company, sustainable, great customer service. So we'll pop a link to look at their range of different paddleboards, and they make paddleboards for people that just want to cruise the rivers. They make adaptable paddleboards, and they also make paddleboards that are sort of more applicable to being in the surf as well.
Yeah, they make seated ones, don't they? Really good quality stuff. Jo's book, Adventures on the Water, The Power of Paddleboarding to Change Lives.
Yeah, so look it up.
Available on Amazon and in our Amazon bookcase.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, so I think that was a good podcast. So a great way to kick off the new session of episodes.
Yeah, we've got plenty of people lined up for the coming season, haven't we? Some exciting people that'll be good. Interesting, of different types, all related to the water. I think just about all diving as well. So that'd be good.
Yeah, so we've got a busy few weeks ahead of us with recording. Yeah, which is always good. But again, if you've got any recommendations for people you'd like to see on the podcast, point them in our direction.
Yeah, definitely do that, and contact us through our social media. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on wherever you're leaving us, wherever you listen to us, and download us, because that helps your dive buddy find us. And once again, we should also say thank you to the lovely people at Narked at 90 who are
beyond technical. So look them up at their website, narkedat90.com, and you can see all types of equipment and services they provide for the recreational and the really technical diver as well.
Yeah. So I think we covered everything. So from unless there's anything else, that was
the BiG Scuba Podcast.